TV, public access show. Do not confuse it with mainstream TV. Mainstream TV is motivated by the desire to make money. Public access is not. Some public access shows try to give you a religious message. Some try to give you an artistic message. Some try to inform you on social issues and current topics. This show does none of the above. It just puts people on the air. It doesn't matter if these people are good looking. It doesn't matter if these people are interesting. It doesn't matter if these people are entertaining. They are like you. So let 1,000 flowers bloom.
Welcome to Pat Your Head, number 8.
And the first thing we're going to play is something my friend Tony here remembers seeing. And what is that, Tony?
Some People A and B by Stephanie Gray.
Yep, that's first. And in the background, hey, that's my own personal feedback stuff.
Because it's air conditioned, something some people don't have at home because they can't afford it. A. Capitalism always depends on a certain percentage of unemployed workers to keep it going. A certain percentage of unemployed workers to keep it going. To keep it going. B. Some people go to work because the boss provides free coffee and free spring water, something some people can't always afford at home. A. The Trico Company moved some of its windshield wiper operations from Main Street down to Mexico for cheaper labor and lower environmental regulations. B. Some people go to work because some of their only friends are there that they can talk to because they can't talk to anyone at home. Reported over and over that the most unsafe place for a woman in capitalist society is in her own home. The most unsafe place for a woman is in her own home. Her own home. Her own home. B. Some people can't wait to go to work because there is danger in their own home. There is always danger in their home. They can get away from the danger in their home. In their own home, their own home. A. Independent newspapers have repeatedly reported and have been ignored that the current labor upswing is misleading because forced workfare for $2 an hour for what was welfare is putting people in so-called jobs. In so-called jobs. In so-called jobs. So-called jobs. B. Some people can't wait to go to work because their toilet has yet to be fixed by the slumlord, and the toilet at work is cleaner than the one at home, and the toilet at work works, and the toilet at the library works, and the toilet at the bus station works. Works, works, works. A. One of the often reported reasons for so many supposedly shocking numbers of Americans with no health insurance besides the ignorant lie that we must be a bunch of lazy Americans who spend our money on crap instead of health is that the powers that be want to employ more people at part-time. The powers that be Friday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. One is Tuesday and Thursday from 9 p.m. to 6 p.m. And one is Monday through Sunday from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Sure, you're not working enough to get sick, boss. Sure, you're not working enough to get sick. Sure. Each of these jobs pays the minimum wage of $5.25 an hour. No benefits. And after taxes, sure, you're not making enough to get sick. Sure. You take another part-time job because you're scared to lose the one that you have, because you want to look for full-time work. There is no more full-time work. There is no more full-time work. That was your dream. That is always a nightmare. That was your dream. That is always a nightmare. Supposedly 30 hours is full-time now, and still no health insurance, and no mask for the chemicals you are spraying, and no MSCS sheets. But you have no say. But you have no say. Or if you do, it'll be back with no work for 1 month. Free bread and canned beans for 2 months. Because when you finally get a job again, you spend your last $60 on a bus pass, you won't get paid till 2 weeks later. So you work and work on nothing. Because when you finally get a job, you'll be eating free bread and canned goods for 2 weeks, because you won't get paid for 2 weeks later. So you work and work on nothing and get sick of capitalism. So you work and work on nothing and get sick on capitalism and start all over again. That was your dream. That is always a nightmare. That was your dream. That is always a nightmare. That was your dream. That is always a nightmare.
Well, here I am. 75 miles. Well, what's to say? Just recently I came back from working in one of the biggest hellholes I've ever worked in my life. I don't know if anybody this far north of Olean or Salamanca is familiar with McCones, but let me tell you something about McCones. All right, I was warned about that place 2 months prior to working there. I was working at Temp and Motors, and I got warned by somebody who worked there. And of all places, where's the Department of Labor send me? The good people of New York, McCones Incorporated. Yeah. They send me down here as, of all things, what? A forklift driver, right? A skilled man, rise up, forklift drivers make good money. What do they want to pay me? They want to pay me a good money job of $5.50 an hour to drive this truck around this shithole plant of theirs. Well, 7 hours in that truck. 7 hours later, they decide, well, you're just not good enough, So out I go. Back in general labor, the boss gives me a snide remark. Says, well, boy, I kind of figured you'd do better at these menial things, and I just pissed off, man. I just want to grab his nose and twist it all the way the fuck around, rip off all his goddamn ears and throw it like a fucking frisbee, man. Well, I didn't last there 2 weeks. I did the best I could. I truly did. He calls me and says, boy, we've had some written reports about you and your attitude. And I said, well, what do you mean? He says, your productivity level's down, and your profanity. You don't like profanity. I said, well, I'm not the only one. You've got plenty of people here who are human who use the same language. Well, he says, I only got the report on you. I says, well, now you're going to fire me, I got my say to do. I said, I don't like your attitude anymore than you like mine. He says, well, I ain't going to argue. Punch out and go home. I says, well, I am going to argue with you, little fuck. I said, I want to tell it like it is. I've gone through this goddamn general labor bullshit for 8 years and never complained once. I said, you put me on 7 hours, you think that's enough? I was swept all day today. Sweeping floors because your machines were down. Why didn't you teach me then? He says, I ain't going to get into this with you. You better punch out and go home, boy. I'm warning you. I says, no, I'm warning you, motherfucker. Your work wouldn't get done without people like me. I said, you want somebody's dog, and I ain't gonna be your goddamn dog. You know, I told him, I said, man, I said, you piece of shit son of a bitch, I said, you know, you're too much of a dick to be a woman, and you're too much of a pussy to be a man. And Lee, if you're out there, you cocksucker, this is me. I ain't forgotten. Happy millennium, you son of a bitch. But anyway, you know, that's just my theory, you know. I mean, you know, there's plenty of people who can get into these jobs and they'll take the kick and everything, beat around. But man, you know, sometimes, you know, there's people like me. People like me don't forget. People like me know how it is to work. People like me know what it is to be treated fairly, decent.
Welcome back.
To Pat Your Head, you just saw an experimental piece with me and Josh and Tony doing some spoken word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were playing some toys. In the background is me playing some really fun toys I got to play when I went to school at UB. Really expensive ones I can't get access to anymore. So that's what we just did. Me, Josh, Tony, live in the studio.
I was forced to work at the hamburger stand actually because I was still am white middle class. Last time I looked in the mirror, but my parents wanted me to go to college. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to work at a hamburger stand, and my parents forced me to go to college after I got fired. And I call this poem "Hamburger Homicide." It's the first time I ever read it. Not that it means anything, but it's the first time it's ever been read. Hamburger homicide, 17 years old, working at a fast food joint, feeling like a piece of rancid pork, cooking 35 burgers every 3 minutes, 8 hours a day, over an unforgiving grill, sweat dripping from my body. Don't you recognize me and my kind? The human assembly line of minimum wage workers, hamburger helpers, never asked to put on Disney ears, to sing and flash bright smiles for McDonald's TV commercials. My only moment of creative self-expression on Thursdays, when the redneck truck driver orders as usual and laughs at the rabble who serve the pretty packaged gristle, which is carefully put together and crafted as a Renoir painting. Red's hamburger rolls find a spot under each one of my dripping armpits. And after a drunk, I turn the other cheek of my ass and give Red's hamburger and fries a silent but deadly salute. Sometimes I don't hold a relish. My only private moments come scrubbing the toilets on my hands and knees, a haven in the hamburger world, where I masturbate or contemplate larger world's issues than my penis. Like Muhammad Ali, I ain't got no quarrel with the Viet Cong. It's the piss dribblers and shit squirters that come to American fast food joints that I curse daily. I am the Gandhi of fast food joints, refusing to eat the food I make, even with the 50-cent discount per meal. Pretending not to notice the assistant manager glaring at me on break, as I sit near the cooler, eating my mother's pasta and peas while guzzling a beer. The other workers call me Pigpen, not Gandhi. It suits me fine. I clean toilets and stand waist-deep in huge green garbage dumpsters, all the time being romanced by rats and cockroaches. But being just as Italian as Lee Iacocca, I borrow some of his dime store Darwinian philosophy. In miracle of miracles, for 2 days, Pigpen is in hamburger heaven, working the windows until the secret is out. I am unable to make small change, or unwilling to make small talk with Brady Bunch families in minivans. Then, as sudden as a buffalo snowstorm off Lake Erie, the 36-year-old assistant manager of the hamburger joint, the all-powerful graduate of Hamburger College, in the most supreme of ironies, tells me, the Pigpen, you just can't cut the mustard. The hamburger man committed hamburger homicide that lazy day in the summer of my youth, as easily as he held the pickles. Later I realized it was not an act of hamburger homicide, but a Kevorkian mercy killing. The hamburger man cut my change from the hamburger plantations, where older Americans, after working their entire lives, can't make it on Social Security, and discarded young factory workers who run out of unemployment benefits have the opportunity in America, land of opportunity, to start over making minimum wage, the only condition of employment, that they wear jack shit looking hamburger hats and aprons. Sadly, the old men at the hamburger joint take out their anger at the displaced young factory workers from Troico who used to fight at the Golden Dollar Cafe every payday in Buffalo, which is easier than punching Troico in the mouth and as satisfying as any cheap high. Thank you.
That was Ross Runfola. Ross Runfola reading his poem about being a burger jockey, and that was at Go Gorilla, and that was at Squeaky Wheel. I can't remember the date. Josh, you remember the date? Yell it to me if you do. October 23rd. Josh is playing the keyboard. I'm going to be playing the flute. And then the next thing we're going to have is my friend Tony is going to show you some of his artwork and tell you some of the stories that go along with it. And we're going to deviate a little bit from our thus far work-oriented pat your head.
Okay, well, this is the guy from beneath the black hat from a couple weeks ago, remember? I come to show you a little bit of my artwork. First off, I'll tell you what's up. I happen to have a disorder that has just a few decades become known, but still nobody really understands anything about it, and I don't really understand anything about it. To cope with this and a frustrating world, which I understand even less than anyone just understands my disorder, I have my artwork, one of my two talents in this sorry little world of mine. It started out as a city of Evil Head and slowly developed into this. What I have here in various poses and forms, these are pictures of internal frustration and rage, insecurities, fears that I feel in spades. The pictures don't necessarily reflect the views that I have. They're just a strange way to alleviate the pressures on my ever-probing mind. It's not easy to have a mind in your head that doesn't shut up. Your mind keeps rattling at you, screaming like some deranged lunatic. Everyone needs something to, excuse their deviancy, shall we say. Some people take the worlds they grew up in and they do this. And you read about them. They got neat little names, just like you and me. Names like John Wayne Gacy, Henry Lee Lucas, Otis Toole, Ted Bundy. How about that crazy son of a bitch, Jack the Ripper? Yeah, he never got caught. Our friend Mr. Zodiac. Well, I take the basic primal rage I feel, that every human feels, basically the monster inside us all, and I manage to do something which I at least believe is different. This is my version of Prozac or Luvox or something. Other people deviate and turn back on pills. This is my pill. Cute, isn't she? Yeah, Well, this is Evil Head. This is the people of Evil Head. Yeah. little string here. My homemade frames, they didn't turn out quite as dynamic as the ink. Oh well, no plan's perfect, eh? But this is what I do. This is my thing. Every one of these has a story behind it, just like I have a story behind me. And everything is a reflection of me and a reflection of nothing. A human being, I do the best I can. It beats going out and, it beats going out and getting into bar fights. It beats getting beat up. It beats, joining the rabble and having your name read along with the likes of Mr. Lucas and Mr. Bundy. And how about Susan Smith, I managed to transfer them onto paper. I mean, check this out. Here's everybody saying how nuts I am for doing this. Tell me, is this nuts or what, right? I mean, I can draw these, I can create something, and we can all talk about it. And hey, check it out, man. No blood on my hands, huh? Left hand, right hand, no blood. Oh yeah, a little dirt and ink maybe, yeah, But check it, man, How can you go wrong? I mean, hey, well, we all gotta do what we gotta do. Well, here I am rambling on. I'm no orator. I'm not a man of words. And you've heard that before. But I'm a man of expression anyway. So those of you, so quick to judge, and, say that my artwork's nuts or that I'm nuts, I only got one thing to say. How would you like to swap lives? I don't think you can ever really know how it is to live like someone unless you are that person. And that's impossible, my friend. 'Cause no one has the same limits. No one has the same thresholds. Nobody thinks quite the same. No two people are alike. That's why you'll see versions of this. Hell, Sin City does this and they sell it. But mine's, like, I guess maybe call it like public access art. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for greenbacks. I do it for me. That's why I'll never stop doing this. I won't paint anything else. Someone says, why do you paint these horrible things? I say, well, I'll tell you what. I'll draw some pretty flowers and hit you. I mean, yeah, it sounds like an even swap. Well, hey, I've said about all I can, and I've, come before you without hats, bearing truth and soul. So, that's about all I got to say, except, I'm glad I got this chance to talk. And I love you all. Oh, what the shit. Nah, hey, you take it easy.
All right, Tony. Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
Gracias.
Okay, Pam.
Okay, well, we just saw some of Tony's art, and next we're going to hear a little bit of my music just to take us out. We only have a few, like half a minute left, so that's it for this episode of Pat Your Head. And here it comes.
All right, that is it.